Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today we're looking at the top 10 world records that are held by the elderly. Living a long life, it's always nice, but living a long life your own way is much more fulfilling. These world record holders are all the oldest people to do something incredible, whether that means becoming parents, tying the knot, sticking with their profession, or just defying the odds. Number 10. Oldest woman to give birth. When it comes to oldest women to bring life into this world, there are actually 3 different contenders, all of which have a fair claim. The Guinness Book of Records title is held by Maria del Carmen Busauda Lara, who gave birth to twins via cesarean section just 1 week short of her 67th birthday. Maria, who was single at the time, was able to get clearance for the in vitro fertilization treatments only by lying and saying she was only 55. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cancer only a few years later and died in 2006, before the twins turned 3. The woman many people believe to be the oldest woman to give birth is Dajinder Kaur, who is believed to have been 70 when she gave birth in 2016. The reason we say believed is because, like many residents of India over 50, Dajinder does not have a birth certificate and is unsure of her own age. In fact, the clinic that helped Dajinder and her husband with their in vitro fertilization treatments believes she was actually 72 when she gave birth. Now, if you question the ethics of women using fertility treatments to become pregnant in their senior years, then you might instead be interested in learning about the oldest woman to give birth naturally without such treatments. This honour belongs to UK resident Dawn Brooke, who gave birth at 59 years of age. She and her husband were not trying to get pregnant and were actually shocked when they found out the big news. Number 9. Oldest man to become a father. Like the title for oldest woman to give birth, this record is complicated by the fact that India didn't start regularly issuing birth certificates until the late 1960s. If he is correct in his age, which remains undocumented, then the world's oldest father would be Ramajit Raghav, who became a father for the first time at the age of 94. Ramajit and his wife, who is believed to be in her 50s, had a second child just 2 years later when Ramajit was 96. Unfortunately, the couple's first son went missing shortly after the couple separated. The Guinness World Record holder for the oldest man to father a child was Australian Les Colley, who had documented proof that he was 92 years old at the time. The child was Les's 9th, but his first child with the boy's mother, who met Les through a dating agency when he was 90. Unfortunately, Les died at the age of 100 when the boy was only 8 years old. Number 8. Oldest competitive bodybuilder. Ernestine Shepherd didn't start working out at all until she was 56, and her sister convinced her to join a gym, promising Ernestine that we are going to become bodybuilders. Unfortunately, Ernestine's sister died 2 years later, and Ernestine stopped working out as a result. She said, "I really wouldn't do anything. I was a complete mess. I did absolutely, positively nothing." 2 years after that, Ernestine saw her sister in a dream, encouraging her to hit the gym once more. At the age of 71, she entered her first bodybuilding event and earned not only a Guinness title for oldest competitive bodybuilder, but also placed first in the competition, beating women no more than half her age. Since then, she's won numerous trophies and titles. At the age of 81, she starts every day with a 10-mile run and continues to do strength training 4 days a week. Number 7. Oldest living married couple. If Karam and Qatari Chand offer you marriage advice, you'd probably want to take it. That's because this couple holds the title not only for the world's longest married couple, but also the world's oldest married couple. The pair was wed in India on December the 11th, 1925, meaning that if all goes well, they'll celebrate their 91st wedding anniversary in 2017. This pair is currently 110 and 103 respectively, meaning they've lived a combined 213 years. If you're wondering what their secret is, the couple agrees that the cornerstone to a good marriage is to not argue and not keep secrets from one another. Number 6. Oldest newlyweds. In November 2015, George and Doreen Kirby, they tied the knot. This alone, it wouldn't have been major news for those who didn't know them personally if it weren't for the fact that George was 103 and Doreen was 91. The fact that their combined age was an impressive 194 years old means that they became the Guinness World Record holders for the oldest newlyweds in the world, and George also owns the title of world's oldest groom. Sadly, George died just a few days short of their first anniversary, but at least Doreen lives on, knowing that she and her husband will probably hold their impressive title for a long time. And while they may not have been married long, the couple did spend 27 years together before tying the knot. As for the oldest newlyweds still alive, that title belongs to Peter Barrett and Nancy Evans, who married in May of this year at 82 and 83 respectively. This gives them a combined age of 165. Number 5. Oldest pilot. There are those who worry about elderly drivers, so just imagine how they would feel seeing the Guinness record holder for world's oldest pilot flying the friendly skies at the age of 99. Ernie Eli Smith started flying in 1946, meaning he's been a pilot for over 70 years now, and he doesn't show any desire to be kept on the ground. In fact, while he has said that he'd rather be the world's youngest pilot, he still feels there's no better place than in the air, no matter what your age. Number 4. Oldest yoga instructor. Many older folk find it impossible to touch their toes, but for the world's oldest yoga instructor, Dao Porchon Lynch, that's just child's play. That's not to say she can do all of the poses that very experienced yogis can do because, well, she did just have her third hip replacement, which does limit her movements a little. Even so, at the age of 98, Dao is more flexible and athletic than the average 50-year-old. While yoga is what Dao is most famous for, it's far from her only passion. She's also a competitive ballroom dancer, and she's even appeared on America's Got Talent. Dao has been doing yoga since she was 8 years old, and perhaps thanks to her fascinating life, which included a lot of time spent with celebrities like Mahatma Gandhi, Noel Coward, Marilyn Monroe, and the Dalai Lama, she's far from your typical yoga instructor. Dao doesn't drink water, and she only sips on tea and wine. She always has painted nails and wears red heels whenever she's not actually doing yoga. Her rise to fame started in 2012 when one of her students helped her to apply for the title of oldest living yoga teacher, and a friend of hers shot pictures of her doing yoga in a formal red dress that quickly went viral. Since then, she's become a fixture in the worldwide yoga scene. At this point, you can't have a yoga festival and not invite Dao, said Miss Burnham, who dedicates a whole weekend to Dao workshops at Dharma Yoga Nantucket, the studio she owns with her husband. Being in her presence and seeing the expectations of what someone would think about someone who is 98 and seeing all those expectations squashed is so incredible. Number 3. Oldest conjoined twins. Conjoined twins don't generally live long lives, in fact, most die shortly after birth. But Ronnie and Donnie Gallion are a notable exception to that rule. In fact, they beat the record for oldest conjoined twins when they turned 63 in 2014, and they're still going strong. The previous record holders, Gaia Como and Giovanni Battista Tocchi, held the record for over 70 years, so Ronnie and Donnie aren't likely to lose their title anytime soon. The twins, who are connected at the waist, share a lower digestive tract, groin, rectum, and penis. They owe their good health in part to a special bed custom made for them in 2010 by the Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital. Before getting the bed, the duo had to sleep on the floor for most of their lives. Number 2. Oldest twins. When it comes to the world's oldest twins, there are the oldest living pair of twins and the oldest pair to ever live. When it comes to the oldest living pair, as documented in the Guinness Book of World Records, this would be Raymond Salmond and Lucien Greer. The two were born on September 23, 1912, making them almost 105 years old. Unfortunately, the two both have dementia and now live together in a nursing facility. When it comes to the oldest twins ever, the title goes to a Japanese pair of twins, Kin Narita and Jin Kani. Whereas titles like oldest married couple are calculated using the age of both parties added together, the oldest twin title stops when either of the twins dies. This happened to Kin at the age of 107. Jin continued to live for another year to the age of 108. The two were famous in Japan not only for their lengthy lifespan, but also for always wearing identical kimonos and for a rap song that they released after turning 100. Number 1. Oldest person to climb Mount Everest. Reaching the summit of Mount Everest is a grueling physical task that has left hundreds of people dead. But to Yuichiro Miura, age is no obstacle when it comes to climbing. Yuichiro became the Guinness World Record holder for the oldest person to climb Mount Everest at the age of 70 in 2013. Then, when someone else took the record away, he reclaimed it at age 75. When he lost the record a second time, he went back to reclaim it at 80. Impressively, Yuichiro wasn't even in perfect health when he made his most recent attempt. He's had 4 heart surgeries since 2007, had diabetes for years, and suffered from a fractured pelvis and left thigh bone that were injured during a skiing accident in 2009. While Yuichiro climbed up Everest as a younger man in order to ski the mountain, he never actually reached the summit until his record-breaking attempt at 70. Climbing Everest wasn't Yuichiro's first world record. His first set a speed skiing record in 1964 by going almost 107 miles per hour, though that record only lasted a day. He was also the first person to ski Everest, where he also set a record for the first person to ski at an altitude above 26,000 feet. Yuichiro isn't done breaking records. He's now hoping to return to Everest when he turns 90 in 2023 in order to make the record even harder to break. So I really hope you found that video interesting and inspiring. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also over there on the right, a couple of other videos that you might enjoy if you enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.